Hello, Annatude listeners. This is the final episode of season 2. I've been doing this for a year now, so this is a little celebration of a year in the making of Annatude. So I'm going to be gone for a couple of months. I'm taking a little eat, pray, love journey minus the praying and loving, just eating, and I will be back. But I will be back with some great guests, some exciting news that I can't really share right now, but when you guys hear it, you guys are going to shit your pants. So enjoy this compilation of my favorite moments, and I would like to thank all the guests who have come on the show, the people that I've met along the way, and I hope you guys enjoy this compilation of Annatude's best moments. So if it's day, night, wherever you are, love and light. Bye. Welcome to Annatude, a relationship podcast about love, friendships, and everything in between.
Brand, then I feel like shoes and teeth are like the indicators if your life is shambles. So those are the reasons why I ghost people. How about you? Have you heard one?
Yeah. Okay. This is so funny that you asked because a couple of my best friends who I talk about dating with a lot give me so much shit for ghosting people. And again, it's 99, if not 100% people that I meet on dating apps. And one, I think that if you're talking on a dating app and you're going back and forth in a conversation and it's just you don't feel a spark and you just don't message back, I don't count that as ghosting. It's I've never met and yeah, I forgot to text back. Sorry, not sorry. But I think once you've gone on 1 or 2 dates with someone, then and then you don't talk to them again, then it's ghosting. And I've done this a couple times and I feel really bad about it because my friends are that's so rude. How could you not just give them an answer? But it's if I've been on 1 or 2 dates with you, maybe I need to grow up. But sometimes I'm I don't have the time of day to explain to you that I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. One, I do know how to actually describe it. I have issues with confrontation. I always have. And I think that that's my biggest problem. So not texting someone back is the easiest way for me to let them know I'm not interested rather than writing a text. Plus, I will say the one time that my friend said, Sarah, don't ghost him. He deserves an explanation. I gave an explanation. And then the person kept messaging me back. And I'm this is why. This is why I just want to cut you off.
Then they want
different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have time for it. I told you I wasn't interested, let it go. But I did. So there's one person that I ghosted from a dating app. We went on 2 dates. I knew after the first date that it wasn't it. And then my friends were give him a chance. You're being too picky. You're nitpicking at the little things. You need to look at the bigger picture, be more flexible. And I was fine. I'll go on a second date with him. Because he was very invested, very pursuing me. So I was I'll give him a second chance. Maybe I'm, trying to fit someone into a box of what I want. After the second date, I was sure as hell I was right after the first one. I'm a very good judge of character. But this person, both dates, showed up in flip-flops. So when we talk about judging someone for their shoe choice.
Men in flip-flops, unless you're going on vacation or going to the gym to shower, I don't need to see.
Thank you.
I hate men's
I don't want to see your feet. Unless you're at the pool or at the beach.
Yeah.
Or you said, communal shower situation. There's no reason for flip-flops. Also, this was a date in late October, early November.
Okay. So just a bum, at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was wearing jeans.
That's bum shaming. I didn't mean to do that. I meant he has no I didn't mean to shame a community of people who don't have homes.
Sorry.
That movie Hustlers, Gia needs a movie about her because it is seriously the most inspiring story I've ever heard. When I tell people about my friend, I'm listen, this, because they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand Gia because she is not for everybody because she's a real one.
Yeah, not for everybody.
They're how did you meet her? I'm I can't even begin
to tell you.
It don't even matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just like, she's my person. Like, this is my friend. And like, period.
We really form like a solid ass bond.
Yes, absolutely.
Cut out the middleman, the person that you were friend, like our mutual friend, you're not even friends with anymore. And we're still friends.
Yes, that's how true friends are. And we don't even talk about that girl like that. So like, cause a lot of girls make friends based on a mutual hatred of somebody, but we don't care about that girl. That's your friend, not mine, but we're friends and you're inspiring. And I just want to shout you out, Gia. I would say usually I give people the option,
which is this man serves cocktails, slushies in old Douce bottles. So I know for a fact people are drinking, they're drunk. Brunch is a time, there's specific brunches. Like if you don't want to turn up at brunch, you go to Chili's or you go to, a calm cafe or whatever. But if you want your brunch spot to be, where people are attracted to, you serve alcohol. And alcohol causes people to, act differently than they would normally. And sometimes alcohol makes people dance. So you have to figure out what your vibe is. And if your vibe isn't the club, and if your vibe isn't twerking, then you better act like Denny's and play only Michael McDonald over your speakers. So
thank you.
Period.
Play a little bitch ass Apple Music, your best of 2020 playlist, and don't have a fucking DJ. Because a DJ also tells me to turn the fuck up.
Yeah, he's reading the room. So my thing is like the DJ knew like what was going to happen after he played that song. He knew. So
exactly.
That's another thing is like speak to your DJ. Like, hey, can you play, Justin Bieber, like something like that, I just don't understand why he had to berate the whole restaurant. That was crazy. So, and another, token is that a lot of people came to his defense, which I assume that would happen, but I didn't understand like also the sexism and misogyny that was included in that speech, because what did that have to do with women respecting themselves? Woo. Because I dance and I twerk, that means I don't respect myself. Like, how does that even go together? What are you trying to say? Like, that's like when people are like, oh, she shouldn't have been wearing that. That's why she got assaulted. Like, no.
Yes.
That's on the men. Like,
it's this hypersexualization of Black women as well. That whenever we move our bodies in any way, it's a form of us not respecting ourselves.
Yeah, because I've been at brunch where it wasn't like a dance vibe, and I've seen like Caucasian women like going crazy over fucking Train and Meghan Trainor and I don't even know, like Gavin DeGraw. I've seen them go like play a Taylor Swift song. I bet they're gonna get up and just go insane, like start punching each other. And I don't ever see people speak to like a group of like crazy people who are like turned up white people. It's always Black people. They're like, stop doing that, you're gonna kill somebody, or stop doing that, so you're gonna hurt something, or stop doing that, you're gonna get assaulted. And it's like, how is that even correct?
Stop policing me.
Stop policing me.
And if I am in a space where you're saying you created a space for me, then it should be a safe space for me.
Yeah, exactly. And we should be able to act however we want within reason,
of course,
without judgment, because we already get that from going to white spaces. So what's the point of even open up this restaurant if you're going to have the same restrictions and the same judgments as these white restaurants and white clubs and white whatever? So, and I hate the word classy, because that is like a dog whistle of like classy is associated with like whiteness
and elitism.
Yes. And it's like, what is classy? Like, I have heard that like, oh, she dresses classy, or he acts classy. And it's like, well, what is classy exactly? Like, what kind of status does that align with? Is it white status, Black status? No, I only heard it assimilated with like white culture.
Exactly.
And I always feel like it's derogatory when it's directed at Black people. Like, if people say, oh, you're so classy, I'm like, well, what did you expect? Like, me to be like, what ratchet.
Yeah.
So
or like you're well,
like wild. Like I just remember when To the Left came out, like I was like, oh my goodness, this is a great song. And then she just put out continuous hits. Like
so good.
Yeah. And then this phenomenal. And this introduced us to Rihanna.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know we were gonna touch Riri in this podcast.
My girl
who put out excellent albums for like 6 years straight.
Consecutive,
like
not a bad album.
They were all so good.
Name a bad Rihanna.
Better every time. Unbelievable.
Name a better artist than Rihanna. Like, and she's such a businesswoman now. And I'm sad because I wish she would put out more music.
Right.
But I respect her because she is making a lasting legacy for herself. Like this is
Fenty Beauty is iconic.
Truly iconic. She's amazing. And she was like a trend setter anytime Rihanna did something to her hair, I also did the same thing to my hair. And God bless me because I thought I was Rihanna. Like I got an asymmetrical bob because Rihanna got one. Like truly, I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, the early 2000s in music was a time. And do you remember, this is when like iPods first came out. And
yes.
Did you illegally download music?
Yes, I did.
I'm
guilty of that.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I just needed that clip because the FBI is also listening. So they're coming to get you.
Great.
I remember
Justin Timberlake, you're also listening. Come save me. Please.
Come bail him out of prison because he's going to jail. I remember thinking like, because my mom would be like, don't download music illegally. We're going to go to jail. I thought I was going to go to jail.
My dad would say the same. Yeah.
Or you're going to give us a virus, which probably I did. But do you remember when you'd accidentally I used LimeWire, and if you downloaded a file, so it was like Russian roulette. Sometimes it would be like the actual song. Other times it would be Bill Clinton saying, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It was like a toss-up. You never knew what you were going to get. So you always had to download multiple files to make sure you didn't get the Bill Clinton song on there.
Yeah.
So, and who did that? I would love to know the creator of that, who was fucking us all up with that Bill Clinton.
I don't know.
And it wasn't even his voice. It was like somebody impersonating him. That's so rude. So disrespectful.
So I used Napster before LimeWire came out. I had a sister who was like 5-6 years older than me. And so definitely it was just like into whatever she was into too. I remember the first CD I bought on my own was Mandy Moore. It had to be 99 or 2000 that I like used my own money to buy the Mandy Moore's debut album. And then Napster is what we used. And the first song that we downloaded on Napster, which took 14 hours to download, like at least. Was just the two of us from Austin Powers with Will Smith. Yep, that's what we chose to spend 14 hours like blocking the phone line from ringing. We need
somebody's calling for an emergency. They're like, you need to evacuate your house. You're like, hold on, Will Smith is about to play. Yeah. That was such a time, and I just remember like making. I'd also make like mix CDs to take on the bus to school, and I wish I still had them because they were like bops after bops. And it was just such a great time. It was such an innocent time for like music. Okay. Do you remember TATU, the Russian girls in the school outfits? Okay. Yes. So I got a story about that. So I bought that CD when I was in 8th grade. I used to babysit, and I bought that CD in 8th grade at Target, and my mom was with me. And I remember her like looking at the CD, and then she would like heard one of the songs, and it was that All the Things She Said. I thought it said All the Things He Said. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I thought it was talking about a boy. I did not know. And my mom asked me, she was like, are you a lesbian? And I was like, huh? And she was like, well, I didn't know because you wanted the CD. And I was like, I don't know. I thought it said All the Things He Said. So I still listen to those songs because they are truly wild, like those girls. And they were faking being lesbian. Yeah.
I did not know this. I need to like do a deep dive into that.
Yes, they were faking their relationship, but it worked because it came all the way from Russia to America. So good for them. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a crazy time. And then also this was like the beginning of like the internet era. Like you said, we had dial-up internet. So your parents couldn't use the phone.
Yeah.
And my mom would give us a time limit. All of you get an hour of computer time and get off the computer because I need to use the phone. But I remember getting those like AOL CDs in the mail and burning them to my computer and then getting on AOL at like 12 and 13 years old. So this is what I used to do. I was catfishing before there was catfish.
Wow.
Had no business talking to people on AOL. And I don't think my parents knew like this was pre like To Catch a Predator and all that. So they didn't know like what was going on the computer for real. So I was babysitting and I had Martin Luther King Jr. weekend and we were supposed to be watching Roots. Do you remember this?
I do.
How embarrassing. Like, and we invited only minorities, we said.
Yep. Minorities only invited to that particular party.
Embarrassing. But people came and we celebrated Martin Luther King the only way we know how, by watching Roots.
But I think we'd really more so ate and drank. We didn't drink alcohol.
Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is a Christian podcast. We were not drinking or doing drugs.
We were hanging out, eating, laughing. I had the hot tub going. We did some more prank calls. I did impressions of Barbara from Teen Mom, I think.
Can you do it right now? Can you do a Barb?
I wish I would have practiced if I knew this would come, but it would be like, Janelle, you and your boyfriend Keith were outside doing drugs in the front yard. That sounds more like someone who...
Good old Barb. Good old Barb from Teen Mom. But that show's still on too, by the way. Like their babies are like 18 years old. Like, why are we still Teen Mom in it? But yeah. So, and then I would like to talk about like our dating lives in high school. I had no dating life at all. Like, I didn't even go out on dates when I was that age. You did have boyfriends, multiple boyfriends, but they were like they were high school boyfriends. Like they would last for a couple weeks or whatever. But you had a dating life. So talk about that. Like, who asked who out first and like, how did this happen? Tell us. I'm living vicariously through you still as a 32-year-old woman.
I mean, high school dating was basically you would go out to eat.
Yeah.
You would hang out at each other's houses, watch movies, and attend dances together. Like that's basically high school dating. It could have been more to it, but that's definitely like wasn't my personality or who I was dating's personality. Like we didn't party, we didn't drink, we didn't do drugs. We were literally like watching movies and hanging out.
Being completely innocent. Yeah. No, I never dated because I never wanted to. And also like there was like 5 people to choose from in our high school. And anybody that I wanted didn't go to our high school. Like they didn't exist. It was usually like I went through phases. Like I went through like I only liked like boys with the emo haircuts, which I like would throw up right now. If like ugh.
And that was hard to find in our school. There wasn't many of them.
No, that were normal. That weren't like wearing like capes and stuff, like being weirdos. I also remember though, I went through like when I was going through my emo phase, I also, which I'm going to post some pictures of my emo phase on my Instagram, some like never before seen pics. Also, I used to hang out with like guys in like bands. But now that I look back, and we've talked about that.
This is controversial.
This is so controversial because like I was 15 hanging out with men over the age of 20. Why were they hanging out with me and my friends? Like we were children. And like, I remember the one specific guy that I like ended up having a crush on. And I think I went on one date with him. He was 23 years old. Like that is, I would never let my daughter hang out with somebody that age. And I don't think my mom realized like how old he was, or like, and I think she trusted me enough to know that like if something was wrong, like I would tell her, or if like, and we weren't doing anything inappropriate, but still, like, why was he hanging out with me and taking me out on dates? And he sold me my first car. Do you remember that?
If you think about it, you guys weren't having sex, you weren't drinking, you weren't doing drugs, you were literally hanging out, and they were like in their 20s, like, what?
Like, that is so disgusting. But it just like goes to like what's going on right now, because I don't know if you probably haven't been following this, and only I have, but they're like all these stories coming out about like Warped Tour, and like basically all those bands were like preying upon young girls. Like that was like a whole thing, and it wasn't just like happening to me and my friends. It was happening all over the country, where these like band guys would like seek out young girls and like rape them, sexually assault them, etc. So like that whole scene is like sketchy. So
well, I feel because you guys kind of like they were just basic Muskegon band guys, like nothing special, but you guys kind of like idolized them in a way.
Yes.
And so like obviously 20-year-old girls weren't doing that, so maybe it's just more appealing to be like someone who like thought of them so highly.
Yeah. Well, and then also we would idolize, like we would meet these guys that were from different states. Do you remember when we traveled, me and Brittany traveled to Indiana to go see this band of guys that lived there?
Didn't Jesse go with you?
Yes. And they were like in their late 20s. Like that is like no wonder my mom never wanted me to leave the house. Like there's some weirdos out there, and I was like doing like shady stuff, and it was only to go see them and hang out with them, and it was not cool. It was not chill at all. Like they were
honestly at the time I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't like, you guys are too young. I didn't feel like weird about it.
No, because we didn't know. And we thought it was like all in innocent fun and games. But now like as adults I would never as a 30-year-old woman hang out with anybody under the age of 25. Like you're a child to me. Like that's predatory behavior. But yeah, so like that was my high school. I went through like this scene emo phase where I would only go to like concerts with bands who screamed, and I truly still love it. But it was a weird environment because it was like very like you were either straight edge, which means you didn't do drugs, smoke, or drink, or you were like a drug addict and did like hella drugs and like drank. So like there was like two different types of like scene emo. And then there was also, it was like very like elitist. Like you couldn't listen to certain bands and go to certain shows, or else like people would like talk shit about you on the internet. So, which brings me to the next topic, which was the internet. You weren't very active on social media back then. You're still not active now. You don't have an Instagram or a personal like page, like, but back then, even with MySpace, like you were not on there as much as I was. Why was that?
I think I didn't know how to utilize it, or I wasn't utilizing like other people were. Like I wasn't like chatting with friends, or I don't know. I was like, what am I doing on here? I'm just like posting something, and I don't know. You know what? The internet's not for me. Call me a grandma.
Yeah, I feel like you're just like a normal person who's like, who cares what I'm doing all day? Like, I don't even care what I'm doing all day. So where I was like, I would have a live journal, which is, once again, if you're under the age of 25, live journal was like a diary, online diary. And you would literally like write what you did all day, or like write your feelings, and people would comment on it. And it was like a weird place because like I'm glad I deleted mine, but I went on there and I'm like, people should delete this.
Snuggle and go to
wipe
sleep.
You up.
And
like,
I was just like, do you know why I'm here? Like, I don't get it. And then finally, like, I initiated whatever happened. And it wasn't even that long that I was just like, okay, let's try and get this going.
Started,
so
yeah.
I go and I'm doing my business, and I was literally down there for maybe like 3 minutes, if that. And he just like, and he gets up and he goes to the bathroom, and I was just like, okay. And he's all like, he's like, I came, blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, okay. And he literally turns around and goes to sleep when he comes back from the bathroom.
Rude.
And I was just like,
rude. How did you go from setting your alarm and let's snuggle to turning your back on me? Rude.
And so I was just like, and so I'm over here trying to figure out how to get out of it. I'm like, how do I get out of this? Like, I'm trying to go home. And this dude just fell asleep. Then a couple minutes later, he woke back up. And he goes to the bathroom. He's like, can I go to the bathroom? That's the other thing. I remember him asking me if he could go to the bathroom.
I would have called the police.
And I'm just like, this is sure, like, it's your house to go to the bathroom.
Why are you asking me?
And I just hear him throwing up. Like, it's loud.
Ugh.
It's loud. And he's throwing up. And he's all like, I don't feel very good. I have to go to the hospital. And I was just like,
what? Like, how do you know within like a throw up session that you need to go to the ER? Like,
yeah. And so I'm like, then I'm actually a good person. So I was like, I can, like, do you need me to drive you? Like, I can take you. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And so he literally, I was kind of just happy that I had an out because now like he's like, leaving and I get to go home.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make sure he's okay because I'm like, I'm a decent person. So I text him and I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, I'm just at the emergency room. I was dehydrated.
What? So, okay.
And so this guy, I'm guessing he was already dehydrated, and because of what I did, I literally took, I guess, whatever
the hydration out of him.
Yes, whatever.
So, head game on 100. She's got that Gluck Gluck 5000. Everybody, that's. She's already taken, but I'm just saying, like, hit me up in the DMs, like, so I can hook you up with Amanda. But that's wild. Suck the hydration out of that man. No. Well, that's amazing. Yeah, so I've never heard that, like, that happened to a man before. So that is, and the fact that he was willing to spend the bread to go to the ER, because it's not a cheap, visit to just be diagnosed with dehydration. Like, he's gonna have to be, he's probably still paying that medical bill. So that's how much your head game was worth it. He was like, I'll go to the hospital for this bitch.
To go to the hospital. Then I'm like, he wasn't even planning on anything, I guess, or he just wanted me to, I don't know. Then at that point I was like, well, then why did you even invite me over if you were feeling even like a little sick?
Because he wanted to see like how dehydrated he was, how much water he actually needed. He needed to like a baseline, but he
needed to make sure.
Yeah, he sounds crazy because he was doing too much at the beginning. Like, so
no, then even after that, I don't remember if we talked after that. I just know he was always doing the most because there was like another time he had invited me and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm literally about to leave work and then I was going to go over to wherever he was. And then he's like, actually, I'm super sick. My eye hurts or something.
Okay. Like he's a hypochondriac. Like he's.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, whatever.
Don't talk to me anymore.
Yeah. No, that was a weird thing. I don't even know if I've ever told Daniel that story.
Well, if Daniel's listening right now, you guys have been through it. You've been through some years. So that story should just show you how great of a woman you've got. Like, you got the prize, Daniel.
I'm versatile.
Yeah, she is.
Take me to church, or we can talk about sex, I guess.
Exactly. You can take her to church, the art museum, McDonald's, but also take her to an orgy. Just saying, that's a versatile woman. I love to see it.
Or whatever. It could be more than that, actually. But I've found that I am the one that some people that have a relationship call for sex. And, so like,
the other man.
Like, and I'm fine with that because I am not there constantly. So when I arrive, I'm the center of attention for this next 2 to 3 hours.
Yes.
That's my minimum.
Yeah.
And that 2 to 3 hours, like, it's all about me because you only have me for this certain time and then I leave. And then
I love that.
I come exactly.
Oh my God, that for you. Story. Let's hear it.
So there was one time that I was out And, you know, I was out at a club and this guy comes up to me and he was like, oh my God, you're so cute. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. You need to be more original. And then he says, well, I'll buy you a drink. And you know what? How about you come up to, you know, my apartment? It's literally down the street. I said, down the street? Great. We are, you know, that's better than waiting 30 minutes for a ride. So we literally take this like 5-minute Uber, which whatever. We get to his place and there's this like guy in his couch. And I was like, oh, he was like, oh, don't worry. That's just my roommate. I was like, oh, but I'm also like intoxicated. So I really don't think until the next day. I'm like, but why is your roommate sleeping on the couch when there's like another bedroom? Right.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
we go to his bedroom, we do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm obviously can't go home that night. I'm weird out. So like, I'm just laying in bed. But let me go back. So as we're doing this, like I'm hearing from the outside, like he has a porch from the outside and I'm hearing like knocks on the window from the outside. I'm like, what is that? He's like, no, don't worry. Like, I think that's my roommate. He just likes to like watch. I'm like, what? And then he's knocking on the window saying like, please let me in. Like, please, I want to watch. I want to be there. And in my mind, I was like, why don't you just open the door and let him join?
Yeah.
Yeah. The more, the merrier.
Yes.
And he was like, no. I just want you right now. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like,
sure.
This is whatever. Then obviously the next day I wake up, get my stuff, I go home. I get back home and I get a DM on my Facebook with this random guy. And I'm like, hello, who's this? And he was like, oh, hi. You probably don't remember me, but you were in my apartment yesterday with so-and-so. And I was like, oh, were you the roommate? Actually, I'm his husband. I'm like...
What kind of relationship is that where your husband is like, please let me in? Like... Did you send him like a counselor like link? Like, please go see this counselor because you need to get out of that relationship because
no, I have.
You're in the relationship. You're in the relationship, but he's not. Let me tell you right now, you are not married.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh my God, no way. And I was like, well, do you have anything better to offer? So he said, yeah, come on over. So I go back over. And I try it out with his husband instead. And till this day, the other guy that when I first went to does not know about it. But I was like, see, that's what it goes back to the open relationship situations. Like if you don't have the communication, like I don't know how it's gonna work, but I don't mind being the third person having fun about it because I had a blast.
That
y'all have to figure something out.
You are winning out here. You are absolutely winning. That's okay, everybody quote me now. That's the best story I've heard on this podcast. Like that was my favorite. We're gonna have Johnny on again because I feel like Johnny has some good stories. Okay, so would you quit your job for a relationship? Like if somebody was like, no. Hey, I need to move and I love you, will you quit your job so we can move?
Oh girl, you did something different there. You dropped the L word.
Yeah, somebody's like, I love you and I want to move back to Kansas to live by my parents. Will you quit your job and move to Kansas with me?
I'm going to speak because I know this is going to be recorded and I'm going to listen to it years from now.
On the pod multiple times. We know her. We love her. But people don't really know her husband, Jordan. So the first thing I want to bring up is Jordan loves Hamilton. And tell everybody about your love for Hamilton. How many times have you watched it?
Like all the way through, maybe twice.
At least 3 times because you made me watch it and then you've watched it and you watched it again for sure.
Well, I mean, let's not count. Like, we don't have to put a number on things, but like, you know, a few. I'll just say this, like, it's catchy. The songs are catchy. And then
I've heard that. I have this problem where people tell me to watch something because it's so great and I do the opposite. And I'm like, I'm never watching that. And then I'll watch it accidentally 30 years later. And I'm like, that was amazing. After the fact.
Because I was kind of a late bloomer to that too. Because I had a friend who was all about watching Hamilton. And like, naturally, I made fun of him. Like, you love musicals? Ugh. Like, you know, macho man stuff.
Yeah, toxic masculinity. You're gay. You love musicals.
Like, And then like my barber was like, dude, have you seen Hamilton yet? And I was like, I tried to watch it. I didn't quite get into it. Cause like we gave it like 5 minutes. And he's like, bro, if you don't like that, you just don't have good taste. And I was like, oh, if my barber doesn't think I have good taste, like.
And it's like it's one of those barbers that uses like a straight razor and
it's legit.
a leather strap to sharpen it. And
well, they're like big tough motorcycle guys.
Oh,
and they like.
That's a turn. Jordan, what? Where are you going? He's like going to the same barber as the Hells Angels.
Yeah, like, it's like they're like skateboarders and motorcycle guys, and they're all cool dudes. And then they're like, "You don't like Hamilton, bro? Get the fuck out of here!
Get out of here! I'm gonna run you over with my heart." I'm like, what?
So I'm like, to get a proper haircut, I'm gonna need to watch Hamilton.
Yeah, or else he'll fuck your shit up.
Oh, that was super good.
So what do you like about Hamilton? I know the premise of the movie because I've read like the description and it's historical, so I know what goes on. But what do you like about the movie? What is your favorite thing about the play / movie?
I guess it's not like standard musical stuff. So it's like they're rapping. There's like a rap battle in it. So like it sounds really cool. Like it doesn't just sound like, people over dramatically singing.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't usually like about musicals.
I hate fucking musicals, but yeah.
Right. And then the second thing would be the history. Like, I don't know how historically accurate it is, but from everything I've read on the blogs, the Hamilton blogs I'm on constantly. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
He's like, he started his own Hamilton lovers blog. Hamilton lovers of Des Moines. Yeah, the ham hawks is what you call them,
I'm honestly not that into Hamilton, but it was a super good musical.
I will watch it.
I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've only seen. Okay, so I'm going to list the musicals that I've seen and why I hate them. I've seen Cats live, and also saw a girl. Me and Liz still discuss this girl to this day. Her name was Cat Bell, actually, and who knows if that was her real name or if she changed it to Cat, but she performed Memories from the musical Cats at a talent show, and it truly was the most secondhand embarrassed I've ever felt in my life because she was acting like a cat and running across the stage, and she's like, Memories.
It felt like a good moment to just be like, because I just appreciated like everything that he was doing, because I have been in a lot of relationships where I questioned how that person felt about me. And from the beginning, he was chasing me. He was like proving to me like the kind of person that he was. And
yes, ladies, do you hear that? If he wants to, he will.
Yeah.
Don't ever, if you have to question it, get the fuck out, because men are very black and white. They either want you or they don't. So don't ever let them question your worth or your meaning to them.
And he was very much like that. Like from the beginning, he was like, this is what I want. And obviously, like, I had a lot of baggage from previous relationships, and he dealt with like all of that.
Hold on, Liz is jade rolling her chin right now.
I am.
I see it. How did you know? And she's like rubbing a literal jade roller across her chin.
I'm interrupting the conversation. Keep going.
That's just a weird thing to do at this moment in time.
It just felt like a good time.
I felt like a good time to jade roll your chin. Everybody get your jade rollers out. Let's do it in unison. So anyway, sorry, Alyssa, you're in a touching moment. Tears are streaming down her face. Liz is over here doing her skincare routine, exfoliating herself. So basically, you had one of the only success stories that I've heard. I have another friend who got married from Tinder. And
how are they doing?
They got married last year, and they are doing well. And I just think it's very rare to meet somebody online. It takes a different kind of personality than what I have, because I do not text well or message well, and I also am very judgmental when it comes to people like flirting.
Then in that way, like, I just feel like that's I think it's just perfect and maybe it's different now because I haven't been obviously on that for quite some time.
I went on it I went not on Tinder, but I went on Hinge. And I was like, please I'm about to KMS. I'm about to kill myself because it truly was the worst experience of like seeing what dating would be like in my 30s, because now it's like men are trying to like overcompensate for like things that they don't have by saying things that they do have. Like, I drive a Maserati and I love The Office. And I'm like, what do those two things have to do with each other? And also, I do not care about you. Like, I like The Office, but I'm not going to like, that's not a personality trait. So it's like very hard to distinguish. And now that I'm in my 30s, looks, I mean, they're obviously still important because I'm not going to date somebody like missing the whole top row of their teeth, but they're not the most important thing to me. Most important is, are you a good person? And you can't really
have your shit together.
You have your shit together, because I have my shit together. You can't really convey that on a dating app nowadays. So it was better when I was in my 20s because we're all getting our shit together at the same time. So now it's like, I don't know about that. And also, there's other dating apps.
I saw that and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, these bitches are crazy. They're crazy.
So I live here with the Real Housewives.
I want to go. They showed like some restaurant with an old man. His name was Walter, and I really want to go there to see Walter, this old grandpa man that was witnessing all their fights. So I'm coming there, but I don't care if that's the only place that is
there's
cool.
So many more restaurants. There's so many more vegan options. There's so many more homes and apartments that they built.
They built it up.
They did have a little bit of a housing shortage when I moved. It was getting annoying, and now they have a lot of extra housing, and I can't even believe it. There is. My friend told me it's like one of the number one thriving cities right now in the U.S. So I don't know if that's true. I have to fact check that.
No, it sounds about right. It tracks because it's like probably the only place that hasn't been like overtaken by people thinking, oh, I got to go to this big, sunny city and get away from my small town.
I mean, there has been a lot of people moving in here, no doubt. But
and it just gets a bad rap because of the Mormonism there. But it's like, once again, the Real Housewives showed me like you can be Mormon and still drink and have fun.
There's actually like more than half the people that live here aren't even LDS. I mean, there is LDS, but there's so many people.
Yeah, or they're not practicing. Like
it's more in southern Utah, which is going to be like the St. George.
I've never heard of that.
Like that's more where you're going to get like more of the LDS and polygamy culture and stuff like that.
So I don't know. I feel like that just gave Utah in general a bad rap, but now I think people are seeing that there's normal people that live there. Hello, Annatude listeners. So I have some exciting news. My Patreon is now only $2 a month. Patreon is just a place that supports artists and podcasters like myself, and it helps us make a little bit of money. So it's only $2 to join the Annatude Patreon. The Patreon comes with bonus episodes every 15th and 30th of the month. So if you're interested in getting ad-free episodes, early episodes, and video of the episodes we record, head on over to patreon.com/AnnatudePod. Now let's get on with the show. So cool. I couldn't do it because I have piercings, but I would be scared to do it to somebody else. Like the pressure of like piercing somebody in the wrong place or like it not being like the correct placement would scare me. Not the blood or not the crying, not the skin touching, but that would scare me.
I'm getting apprenticed. I won't say where just for like privacy, but like, so I'm getting apprenticed. The body piercer that's apprenticing me has been piercing for a really long time, like a good 8 to 10 years. So I feel really good about it because I do believe in the tattoo and piercing industry that a true, real apprenticeship is very important. I understand that some people self-teach, and I get it. Nobody will apprentice me to tattoo. So if I'm going to tattoo, unfortunately, if I start, I'm going to have to self-teach myself because no one will apprentice me that I want to. So I went down this route instead with the piercing because I have a really good friend that I've known for a very long time. And he said, yes, I will apprentice you. I'll teach you how to do it. And he's being very serious about it. And it's funny too. The only thing he's paying me is food. And because
I love that.
You're supposed to keep your apprentice alive at least.
Yeah.
So that's like
the bare minimum is like
the bare minimum.
I will feed you, but I will make sure you're breathing. But that's pretty much all.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hilarious. Actually, I would prefer to be paid in food. So
yeah, he is like
that's 90% of where my checks go anyway.
Yeah, the other night we did really well at the shop, made like a lot of money, and he was at the end of the night, he's like, I want Mexican food. He's like, so meet me at this place. Da, da, da. And when we went there, he was like, we're getting a margarita. And like,
hell yeah. Ooh.
I was like, okay, cool.
Like, I could deal with this. Yeah. So, every kind of piercing, like dermal.
Yes. I haven't seen, I've only been there for a week. I did a solid week so far.
You got an appointment set for one, or you just know it's going to come?
Not yet, but it's going to come. It's coming.
The books. Okay.
I don't know because I don't have access to the appointment. Like I can see them on someone's phone, but we haven't done one yet. He did one right before I started, and I saw pictures of it, and it was really pretty. It was on a female. And so it's coming. Yeah, it's definitely coming. There's going to be some
that one I do not understand. So I'm like,
my life.
Why? Like, I don't want to see that on a male. Like, I just.
It's pretty interesting. My boss showed me a really weird one. It's like so hard to explain though, like without it, but it was on his balls, and it was like one piercing went one direction and then another piercing went the other direction, and then the hoops in the skin overlapped but inside the skin. And that one was, so for a piercer it's interesting because it's like, oh my gosh, you did that, like, you know, but that was like that was weird. Okay, so here's the story. So the other day this girl comes in, she's acting kind of weird. I don't know if she was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to have judgments, but she was acting a little weird. Well, Derek said that he thought maybe she was on drugs. But maybe she was just nervous too, you know? I mean, it's getting a piercing is a little weird. So anyway, so she's alone and she wants her nipples pierced. So we go through the procedure with her, make sure that they're actually pierceable because some people's anatomy isn't good.
Yeah.
Something telling Black women, well, it's not natural for y'all to have hair like ours when we talk about wigs and shit like that and straight hair. Let me tell y'all something, baby. Ain't nobody buying no 22-inch Montana straight. Okay, ain't nobody buying no 24-inch Nebraska bundles, baby. Okay, ain't nobody trying to buy your hair. Straight hair is not even a white people thing. I just want to be clear. There's plenty of other countries that have straight hair, and that's where we're getting our bundles from, baby. Nobody wants you hoes in fucking South Dakota to donate your length for the bundles, baby. Nobody wants that weak ass hair. Don't you ever play with me. Ever.
Saying like we don't have, like when Black women have blonde hair like a Beyonce, or you know, like red hair like mine, or any different color hair that isn't dark brown, they associate that with whiteness, which is like if you look at countries in Africa, there are many different shades of hair.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, brown hair, red hair. We're not a monolith.
Yeah, we don't just have one texture and one color. It is, you know.
All three of my daughters don't even have the same texture of hair as each other, and no one even has the same texture as me. I gave birth to all three of them.
Yeah, my siblings, for example, we all have different color hair. There's red in all of our hair, but my hair is
different shades.
Yeah, different shades. My hair is thicker, coarser. My little sister's, her hair is curlier. My brother's hair is darker, and we are not in a box of we only have one style of hair. It just drives me nuts. But yeah, and I just want to know, like, what are white women accomplishing by putting their hair in cornrows, which that's not the problem. The problem is your hair is not meant to be like that. It's not meant to be like in cornrows for long periods of time. That is for us as a protective style. Our hair texture is meant for that. Been doing it for generations.
Mm-hmm. Centuries.
Why would you want to knot your hair up like that? Is that hard to brush out? Like, I'm just asking for a friend. Like,
and I mean, the other part is when I see certain hairstyles, and again, going back to what we were talking about, and when it's on a white woman, it's trendy and it's fashionable. When it's on Black women who have been doing it for, like we said, since the beginning of time, it's ghetto. It's ratchet. It looks classless. It's unprofessional. I've been told my hair was unprofessional for having it cornrowed and in a bun.
I don't know how many times I've gone to work with my hair natural and people ask, what happened to your hair? Girl. You mean the hair that I was born with, that it just does this naturally? That's the whole purpose of a natural hairstyle. It's seen as something like scary or like, abrasive or aggressive when your hair is natural as a Black woman.
Yeah.
And that is none of your business why my hair looks a certain way one day. And then I come to work the next day with a straight ponytail. Just stop commenting on Black women's hair. Do not ask if it's real. Do not ask if it's mine. Yes, bitch, it's mine. I bought it. Do not ask if you can touch it. We're not animals in a petting zoo. No, you can't touch it, honey. And yeah, just stop asking about Black women's hair. That is so disrespectful and offensive when they ask, how come your hair's like that?
Thank you. Unless you're giving a genuine compliment, please fucking save it. Like today, this white girl I'm in class with, she gave me and these two other Black girls the most awesome comment, because one had box braids. I have my hair in the short taper with the curls, and the other girl had a twist out. And she literally said, she's like, I just love y'all's hair. She's like, y'all can do so much stuff with your hair, and I think these styles are just so beautiful. She's like, I just really wanted to say that I really love you guys' hair, and I love how everybody just has these cool, creative hairstyles. It was not offensive. It was not mean. It was a genuine compliment.
That's what you can say. Don't ask, why is our hair like that? Or how did we do that? Just say you like it, or don't say anything at all.
Telling you about science and just like, let me peg you.